it was interesting. I got some really good footage earlier on of the stewards for the Just Stop Oil. They had a huge, the commissars. They had a huge yellow rope that they were using to literally corral the cops. It was the cops who were being corralled by them. They were the ones leading the way and dictating where people could go and where people couldn't. And it was very interesting to see. It basically was emblematic of everything that's going on with these controlled opposition groups.
Well, all of these protest groups are essentially using the rules of Saul Alinsky, right? Rules for radicals. Although the modern updated version you can find on a site called Beautiful Trouble, right? And it's all about this idea of mid-level violence. Okay, so the way this whole protest thing works is that the point of any action is not the action itself. The point is the reaction of your opponent. Okay, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if I was to go up to you and just start poking you.
7-3!
And be like,
And we got it! We got it! Abusing your power!
Right? And then after like, I don't know, an hour of me doing this to you constantly, you're suddenly like, fuck off, get out of me. And then I get that thing on tape, right? And I say, look what a fascist you are. Look how unreasonable you are, right? That's literally the stated goal, right? And the idea is to just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. You see this with Just Stop Oil, and they're like, they're just going out blocking roads, right? Like, and then the police are like, if you object to them blocking roads, like, we're gonna arrest you. Fortunately, Lee Anderson came out and basically started going hard on the Met and saying, like, look, this is bullshit. It's already illegal under the law to block roads, right? Everybody knows this. It's bullshit. It's all mid-level violence. They're just trying, in my opinion, to provoke a reaction. Nobody likes these motherfuckers. Right? And I think it's like this weird persecution complex, You stop all these people getting to work, and then you get like the shit kicked out of you, and everyone's like, I can't believe how unreasonable these people are.
Yeah,
I think they're cracked in the head, mate.
Yeah, that means all protesters are going to get the normal Joe in the pub saying, do you glue yourself to the road, lad? Is that what you're up to on a Saturday? Yeah, so with the mid-level violence thing, I think that with the drag queen story hour, it's really important that we stay peaceful, because that's exactly what they want us to do, is kick off, be violent, and brand us as violent far-right. And most of us there wouldn't describe ourselves as being far-right at all. That was an interesting experience. I
think a key component of this is disabling government and law enforcement, right? If they started doing this stuff, and same with Just Stop Oil, right? And the cops came in and was like, look, you can't do that. No one would really be violent. They'd just be like, a bunch of nonsense tried to set up this thing, the cops moved them on, right? But by disabling the police or government response, right, and most particularly targeting the people who are pushing back against that, it really induces popular anger, because people think it is fundamentally unjust when it is the criminals that are being protected by the police. Nobody fucking likes that, right? So disabling the law enforcement response, I think, is absolutely key, because there's nothing that pisses people off more when a crime is done and the cops come along and they arrest the innocent instead of the criminal. And that, in my opinion, is what causes this sort of violent backlash.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Frankfurt School as well, the court system being weighted against the victim.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of their philosophy.
Yeah, correct. From the communist point of view, right, the more popular discontent, the better. Because popular discontent leads to what they would call revolutionary energy, right? One of the big beefs about the Marxists in the the 60s and stuff like that in the US and in other industrialized societies was that the proletariat would not come to revolution because they were happy, right? They had their Weber grill, they had their football on the weekends, they had a house, job, a car, and nice family. And the communists fucking hated this, right? They're like, we're never going to get a revolution if everybody's happy sitting at home drinking Bud Light and watching football. So what we really need to do is we need to screw their lives up and make everything worse, and then we will get the revolutionary energy. And I think, broadly speaking, this is what has happened over the past 10 years. That's why everything is political now. That's why everyone is pissed off, because the things that would have made people content have been deliberately subverted. You know, movies, sports, books, I mean, TV, like everything that would just make people happy. They've all been subverted to this woke purpose, and now people can't escape reality anymore. Even when you try to like just go to a movie to just like switch off and get out of your head, you're still bombarded by fucking woke propaganda. And I think that's deliberate.
It definitely is. When I was at the Battle of Ideas, I tried to talk in the is Hollywood dying, or what's the state of Hollywood talk, and I tried to talk about how that TV on the wall behind us was a culture creation device, and they pretended to understand what I was saying, and then they just completely said the opposite and said that it's all about money.
I mean,
it's about social control, and Hollywood is a crumbling, dying social engineering operation to me.
Yes, but no, right? So the way the sort of left communists would think is that everything is about cultural control. Now, I'm not denying that media is not a cultural control mechanism, right? But you've got to be like subtle about it, right? The way the left tends to do it is they take that cultural control thing and they just turn it up to 11, right? So take like an original movie like Top Gun, like the original Top Gun, okay? You can make an argument, yeah, sure, it's, you know, it's promoting American values and all this kind of other stuff, but that's not its primary function. Its primary function is to entertain and to make money, right? The propaganda function is secondary. Whereas the left, they turn it over on their head and they make the propaganda the primary thing. They don't care whether it makes money. They don't care whether it entertains.
Well, no,
right?
I'm neither extreme, but like I would definitely say that Hollywood was designed as a social control system. Making money is secondary for me.
Again,
to social control.
Again, you've got to be subtle about it though, right? If you ramp it up to 11, people start noticing and they like just start tuning out, which is what's happening to Hollywood at the moment.
Yeah, that's what's happening in Hollywood at the moment, but if you notice, the kids, the young people that are coming through, they don't notice so much.
Well, they're kids. I mean, by definition.
We notice.
Yeah.
We notice because we understand the change, but this new world isn't being built for us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I don't think that, well, I mean, this shit never works, right? Because it requires like an insane amount of force, and there isn't enough force around to keep this kind of like thing in check. It winds up being this constant thing where you're like constantly battling your own population, right? This is why it always ends in you having to like kill off 10 or 20% of your own population, because there's always a certain group of people who just won't go along with this shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and we're in them.
Ohio, we do! Ohio, we love you! We love you, Ohio! We do! We love you, Ohio! We do! We love you, Ohio! We do!